In this video, I'm going to talk about Vipassana meditation, which is a style of meditation taught by a teacher called S.N. Goenka. I started doing Vipassana meditation in 2015. So far, I've done 10-day silent retreats. I have done one Satipatthana, 9-day silent retreat. Satipatthana is the retreat that prepares you to be able to sit longer seats. So 20 days, 30 days, 40-day seats. I have served twice. And I teach mindfulness. But even though I teach mindfulness, for my personal practice, I practice Vipassana because I found it to be one of the most powerful practices for me. I've tried other meditations, and Vipassana for me has literally changed my life. And this video is about the things that I wish I knew before I did my first silent retreat. I did my first retreat in Austria. I was studying and staying in Switzerland at the time. And I heard from friends about this practice, and I really wanted to learn how to meditate. I had tried to do it by myself before, but I struggled a lot, and I thought I needed to go and learn a technique. And my friends who had done Vipassana before talked to me about it, and I ended up doing one in Austria. And that was interesting because that retreat didn't do much for me, actually. I think I'm surprised that I went back. I mean, it did something to the extent that it taught me the technique, so I could try and meditate afterwards. But some people have big revelations or major life changes when they do a 10-day retreat for the first time, but that didn't happen to me. However, one of the things that I want to talk to you about today I realized that I didn't know that the whole course is taught by S.N. Goenka, and he's actually not present in the course. So you're essentially looking at videos, and you have assistant teachers. And in the course where I said there was two assistant teachers, one for the females and one for the male students. And I remember, because you can put your name down for interviews with the assistant teacher, and I was struggling a lot because I was really trying to concentrate, and to the point that I was giving myself headaches. And I went to the assistant teacher to ask them about my experience, and I said, "Listen, I'm struggling because I don't know if I'm getting this right, but I'm overly trying to concentrate in my bodily sensations, and I'm getting these headaches or these eye strains." And then she said to me, "Oh no," she was French and her English wasn't that well, and said to me, "Oh no, I had a friend that happened to once, and it's not good." And I remember leaving that room thinking, wow, that was so unhelpful. Actually, it made me worry. Now I'm assuming that I'm worried if I'm gonna have issues from trying this meditation. And yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that I wish I knew was that the assistant teachers are hardly ever actually helpful. That is my experience. So I don't know what other people's experiences are, because they're not supposed to give you answers. They can answer questions about the technique itself, but if you have an experience that is not on the script, they don't know how to answer it. And I think from then on, I've never really went to an assistant teacher afterwards, because I just felt like it's quite useless, actually. So I just go there and I read up by myself, and I have the experience by myself. But the technique itself is so pure and so clear and so clearly taught by S.N. Goenka that it's very hard to misinterpret. All you are doing is paying attention to either to your breath, or you're paying attention to your bodily sensations. That's fine. And you are practicing something called equanimity, which is the state of not thriving. So equanimity is like not wanting things to be different. So it's non-judgmental, actually. Another thing that I wish I knew before doing my first Vipassana, which is something that I would recommend for anyone who's thinking about doing their first 10-day silent retreat, is in Vipassana. And I know this from mindfulness, because once I did my training in mindfulness, it completely changed and shifted my Vipassana practice. And that is the pillar of self-compassion. I find Vipassana to be quite masculine and quite rigid in a way, concrete. And I think it's simple and clear and useful because of that. But I think if you don't have any practice, or you don't come from a different practice where they emphasize self-compassion, Vipassana can be very detrimental, because people go there, even though they talk about equanimity, people tend to strive a lot there because they think there's a right way of doing it. I know this from my own experience. And for years, my meditation was stagnated because of this tendency of wanting to do it, the practice right, and sitting down for 2 hours and 1 hour each time, and there's a right way to do it, and if you're not doing it right, and self-judging. And once I learned about self-compassion and emphasizing self-compassion from mindfulness, it completely changed my Vipassana practice, because now I don't have to sit for an hour all the time. I can sit for 20 minutes, and that's okay. I'm just a human being. I don't have to judge myself for that. I don't have to feel like I'm failing because I'm not sitting for 1 hour and I'm not then. So if you are someone who's considering doing a 10-day silent retreat, my advice, and I give this to people that I teach mindfulness. Actually, I tell people that I teach mindfulness that the next step would be to have like a serious practice such as Vipassana. So I do recommend Vipassana to like some mindfulness practitioners who are interested in kind of like a more disciplined and more rigorous mindfulness meditation training. But for someone who's never done any meditation, I would suggest doing a softer or a more gentle form of meditation style, or going to a shorter course and like implementing meditate or introducing meditation into your life slowly. So any mindfulness based practices are good. So you can maybe even do like a traditional MBSR, mindfulness based stress reduction, which is like comes from John Kabat-Zinn's lineage, or any mindfulness based smaller introduction to mindfulness or meditation retreats, and practice that for a few months, and then go into Vipassana. Because I've seen in my years practicing Vipassana and going to these retreats, I've had and seen experiences of people losing their minds essentially because they don't have any background of meditation, and suddenly they're meditating for like so many hours, and the assistant teacher, there's no one really there to support you, and you don't, it can be like the sitting of a dictan, for instance, like sitting of so I just think that like for people who are new to meditation, I think Vipassana might be like a super league meditation, and for some people it works immediately, so they just go and like they can get it, and then it's a life-changing practice for them. But for some people, a small minority, it can create serious mental health issues actually, and can even take people back a little bit. So I would say just maybe start softer, start smaller, and then progress into like practices like Vipassana. Because I think Vipassana is powerful, and I think because it's powerful, it shouldn't be taken lightly. Not everyone should be thinking about going to a 10-day silent retreat the first time they've ever meditated. So I hope this was helpful. So yeah, because there's no real support when you're there. This is just my opinion, and I think other people have had other different experiences, and I'll be happy to share what those experiences are. But this is just my experience and my recommendation, just from my own experience, and also being a teacher of meditation. I think gentle, easy, start slow, and learn to be kind and compassionate towards yourself, so that you can bring that compassion and kindness and non-judgmental to like practices like Vipassana. So I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching.